more
up.
serious note, you have survived thyroid cancer and
Yeah.
you are now back in action, I think, right?
Yeah, that's the plan.
So how does it feel to make it through all of that and kind of get back to something like normal life?
I kind of can't even begin to fathom this discussion. And to be honest, Finn, you're the first person to directly ask me this. So this is like a very, very, very candid thought here. For one, what's it like to go through all that shit? Scariest thing that could possibly happen in my life. My mother died of cancer. I have a lot of cancer history, like just in my family stuff. My
Thyroid cancer doesn't normally kill people usually,
No, it doesn't. But like
but it's still scary.
the
I
C
don't mean to
word.
minimize. I'm like, oh,
No,
come on,
dude,
Dan. What's the big
yeah,
deal?
pussy. Yeah,
Yeah,
dude. What did you get? Vagina cancer? Come
right.
on. So basically, it was this thing where like I found this giant ass lump on my neck and it was out of nowhere. And because I am the way that I am, because I dealt with so much medical stuff with my mother and my dad, actually, I was really against wanting to go get it checked out. I was,
Mm.
I'm like a really, really, really spiritual type dude, right? So I was like, I'm gonna fucking meditate this thing away. I'm gonna disappear for a couple weeks and do nothing but like focus on positive intentions and do all this shit. And like it didn't get worse, but it didn't get better. And it got to a point where like this lump in my neck, which turned out to be a cancerous tumor, was so large. It was about 6 centimeters. It was so large that it was actually collapsing my trachea. So
Oh
like
wow.
breathing and talking was challenging. You know, like since I wasn't touring, I was teaching 3-4 days a week. So like my lessons were really fucking challenging. I'm like wheezing and winded, and then like
And you're just like kind of hoping this is gonna go away.
yeah, I mean, dude, ironically I've had something before on my left side when I was living in Texas. My gland, like underneath my jaw, I was eating
Yeah.
a tuna wrap, and all of a sudden my gland exploded like the size of a baseball, and I was freaking out. And then the next day it was gone. So in my mind, I'm thinking like maybe this is one of those things, or maybe that was the beginning of this. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't really know
Yeah.
the catch 22 of the whole thing, but
It's
effectively,
scary stuff when you feel giant lumps on your neck.
I mean, any lumps usually suck, right?
Yeah.
In reality, dude. Actually, I like lumpy oatmeal is pretty good. I take that back. But but
Yeah. Or
effective.
pulpy OJ. I'm a big fan.
I'm a big fan. Speaking of lumps, dude, I just watched Ace Ventura recently. That shit did not hold up.
I have never seen that movie.
Oh my god, there's this bit at the end where like the antagonist is like it's a male football player that turns into a female cop. And like
Uh-oh.
the whole out that like the end bit of the movie is like pantsing her to like show Mr. Winky that she's stuffed between her butt, like tucked in. Never mind. Lump jokes going over the head. It does not hold up.
Yeah.
It does not hold up, dude.
So you got your thyroid out completely then. This they cut your neck open.
So I got half of my thyroid removed, and
Oh,
like
okay.
I'm doing a bunch of incredible like skin stuff to make sure that my scar is not gnarly.
Yeah.
Although I should have just like thrown salt and acid at it so it could be like a makeup special effects thing for Ice Nine.
Right.
You don't have to do fucking makeup anymore. But um yeah, dude. So I basically it was discovered. We did do I want to talk shit on yeah, dude, I'm you know what? It's whatever. Really be an advocate for yourself. I had Medi-Cal, not very good health insurance, and then I had student doctors taking care of me.
Mm.
Um, Terrifying, right? That's like
Yeah.
people younger than me telling me what to do to save my
Like,
life.
oh, I'm pretty sure this is not
Yeah,
good.
straight up, dude, straight up. And like I'm like, yeah, like I'd really love if we could get this handled and like make sure it's nothing so I could go back on tour with my band. They're like, you're in a band? What are you? And then they start fanboying on that, and then it's just like this is immediately not feeling like a doctor's supposed to feel. I don't like this.
Yeah.
And they do a biopsy. So thyroid shit is really freaking weird. It reaches what's called, they have a TIRAD scale. TIRAD's 1 through 5. And I had a TIRAD 5, which is like not good. That means they want to take it out basically. No, I'm sorry. TIRAD 5 is to do the biopsy. I forget the other scale for taking it out, but I also aced that fucking test.
Yeah.
So basically, we have to do a biopsy. A biopsy for a thyroid is really fucking gnarly. You know, when they take like an Arctic ice core sample and it's like this giant hollow tube. It's called an
I had one.
FNA. You had a thyroid, so fine needle
Yeah.
aspiration.
Yeah.
Probably, hopefully by a professional, not a child.
I felt nothing.
I felt everything.
Oof.
So for I'll just tell people because you already know, but it's like they have to take this hollow needle, stick it into your neck, into your thyroid with no anesthetic, no nothing. You're completely awake. And they basically go in and they have to poke in all directions for 15 seconds to gather as
Oh,
much
mine was
cellular
just a
material.
little like joop because my thyroid wasn't that bad, so they probably were
Dude,
exploring a little bit more with
in,
you.
poke, 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 15 seconds, come out.
Ugh.
Let's do that 4 more times. We have to do it 5 times.
Ugh.
And
Right
three
here in
days
your neck.
right here, right next to my Adam's apple, effectively. And
Ugh.
I'm trying to remember the real name for an Adam's apple has something to do with the thyroid, which I never knew before, but it was kind of weird. An
Okay.
Adam's apple is like a made up name. Um, should be called Eve's apple. Am I right? That's kind of fucking
That's
weird.
right.
That's a
Thanks,
weird.
Eve. Thanks for
Yeah.
nothing.
Come on, dude. Uh, or do that. But basically, she calls me 3 days later and goes, "Hey, so we kind of botched the biopsy. Can
Ugh.
you come back and do another?" And I'm sitting there like expecting like, dude, and I have to zoom out a little bit on this. I was, bro, this is a movie. This is the most cinematic bullshit ever. And I swear I'm not dramatizing this. I had the contract to sign to rejoin the touring situation with my band. It was on my fucking desk. I had just got off the phone with my lawyer, with Eric German, the band lawyer. Everything's a fucking go. I'm super stoked. I got the pen out, get the call from my doctor.
God, it's like a movie.
Straight up, dude. And I sat there. So I'm gonna kind of fast forward a little bit. After getting the second biopsy done, that shit sucked, hurt just as bad. My doctor calls me and goes, "Hey, so like this is not the news we wanted to give you, but you have cancer." And I drop to my fucking knees, lose it, fucking like laying on the floor for like a couple hours, literally just being like, who the fuck do I have do what do I tell? Like obviously I need to tell my family, but like my band, my fucking best friends, the crew that's like dependent on me, this entire or this machine that needs to move forward. And if I am this fucking wrench in the works, that's going to be really bad. So the first thing that I did was I called Spencer, and it was like the most heavy, heartfelt conversation I've ever had with that dude. He gave me, I'm trying not to cry right now. This is really gnarly. He gave me his fucking love. He gave me his support. And the band's like blessing, so to speak, to just be like, dude, like, don't even worry about. I was like, dude, I'm so fucking sorry. Like, I want to do this tour. Like, and he's like, dude, shut the fuck up. Like, take care, stay alive. Like, don't even worry about us. We're good, man. And that really, 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 really sucked. But effectively, my doctor called and said, you have cancer. And then she called me an hour later and said, whoops, actually. Yeah. So the whole student thing was the worst thing in the fucking world. So she calls me and goes, actually, so it looks like the second biopsy wasn't as good as we thought it was as well. So what it looks like is there's like sketchy looking cells that look like papillary thyroid carcinoma. And we're going to recommend to take out the entire thyroid. And if that's the case, we're going to have to put you on thyroid medication for the rest of your life. And if you
Yeah.
don't take it for a couple weeks, you'll die.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, cool. So like, suckle on the teat of the man to stay alive. Like, I don't fuck with that. That's not
Yeah.
how I
Knowing
operate.
what I know about you, that doesn't sound like you'd be down.
No, dude. Like my mother had brain cancer for just under 11 years, and she had 3 brain surgeries, chemotherapy,
Ugh.
all this shit, and doctors. It was on the last tour I did with this Blood Runs Black where we found out her tumor came back for the 4th time. And I was just immediately, I quit the band. I was like, I need to go be my mom's caregiver. I need to go fucking be by her side. I just lost like 8 years playing fucking metalcore instead of being with my mom. What the fuck, right? So I did that whole thing. And through the way that I am, through a shitload of research, all the doctors said she had about a month or 2 to live. And I found something called RSO, Rick Simpson oil. Have you heard of this before?
No.
It's a marijuana distillate, and my mom was sober for like 12 years. She had recovered from a lot of stuff, and it was a really, really big discussion to get her to try this stuff, and her tumor shrunk 45%, and we got 2 more years with her. From like me finding this shit that doctors wouldn't fucking ever say, they would never sign off on. So like that's where I come from. So when a doctor says like you got to get this shit removed and you got to take these pills for the rest of your life,